Good morning, future rich dads and future rich moms. Welcome back to my channel, and I have another video for you guys where I give you the play-by-replay on my recorded live trading sessions. Today is February 27th, 2025, and it's just right before market open. And on the chart, I have this on the 1 minute chart on the right, a area that we were looking at yesterday, and it seems like we've retested this area earlier today within the pre-market time frame of maybe 8:45, 8:50ish. But today I did try another ChatGPT trading suggestion or proposal using the ChatGPT logic, and I did prompt it today again, and surprisingly it did give another banger. But I did not take this trade, but I'll just fill you guys in on when the trade occurs, and based on the entry that ChatGPT provided, and then what the target was. And oh my gosh, this would have been a good trade if I had followed through with the suggestion made by ChatGPT. But currently I'm still just testing it out and to see if how successful ChatGPT is with just a screenshot with volume profile and just a little bit of logic for Wyckoff market theory. But just to have an aside, the trading, I'll put it this a little screenshot of what the suggestions for this entry, for this trade position that ChatGPT has suggested. But in short, it was a short entry at the 21,270 level, where if it retests this area and breaks down, it's going to drop quite a bit, and it did drop quite a bit based on ChatGPT's proposed trade. So we have an entry at 21,270, a first profit target of 21,180, which is a short. Based on the logic, it would be sweeping liquidity in terms of fulfilling market orders at the bottom, and then a final profit target of 21,140, and that's quite a bit. That's about 100 points, and you'll see that later on in the video that this does hit. I'll try to dictate or annotate when that happens, but damn, it was nice and would have saved me a lot of headache because I was down quite a bit, maybe 2,000 today, and then I recovered that and made a net profit of 1,000 for the day and ended my day there. But yeah, I have this video sped up about 1.3 times because I'm trying to stay under the 1 hour mark for these videos. But just, yeah, thanks for joining and stay tuned. I'll be analyzing the trades that I have for you this morning. So currently we are in a downward trend based on the 5-minute chart on the left. We see that turquoise line that is dictating the top or the resistance of the trend. And so we're pretty much rejecting it right now. And we are in this channel within these magenta lines. There's volume clusters to the left where we had dipped down from, and from yesterday it was looking kind of similar to the graph that I had proposed to ChatGPT yesterday. We dipped down and now we are filling that gap again. But we'll see shortly that we are in a downward bias based on this trend, and for us to break above, we would have to reverse from here and then break above this top purple line at the 21,362-ish level and break it with a strong momentum slash volume cluster, and then retest that line, and then have a reversal sign to go back to the top side. But we'll have to break these peaks, these tops at the left, to continue that momentum. But unfortunately, we're going towards the downside, and just based on ChatGPT suggestion, that that fell through as true, and we tried to trade. I tried to trade the bounce on these huge dips down, and I was taken out accordingly and was made liquidity and dropped myself to about minus 2k. And I'll show on the screen when that occurs that I'm down quite a bit, but I recovered myself and got back up to 1k. But right now we're just right at market open, and it's just kind of slow. There was news today, but the news, I wouldn't want to say that it was impactful, but it was impactful at odd parts of the release date or times, and that was a little bit of what screwed me up, was the reversals of the news impacts. But like I said, we recovered from that. Right now we had some break of this trend where I just have this red arrow pointing down on the right side. It was following an upward trend, and it broke, and therefore it broke and retested with this 931 candle, and now we're at the 932 candle. But this white bullish 931 candle was the retest of the break of this upward trend, and so we went towards the downside and followed the downward momentum of this downward trend based on the 5-minute chart. So we'll be seeing a move to the downside, but of course there's volume clusters above us, so before we move to the downside, we'll have to move up to get orders and then move down. And at this point I'm thinking we broke the trend with strong volume, but we are at this ceiling that we have to break and then move above it and then come back down and then reverse to the top side. So that's what I'm looking at right now in terms of trade positions, is moving to the top side, since it did peak up there, but it didn't close above that, and we will have to wait for it to close above that ceiling to be able to have like a decent bias to move to the upside. But as you can see, the body of this candle on the 5-minute chart is kind of following the trend and sticking close to that cyan teal colored line. So we always have to wait for the candle closure to have a higher probability bias. So we're peaking a little bit above, but we have to close over that ceiling and break it, retest it, then bounce off of it. But as you can see, we're staying heavily around that downward trend line on the 5-minute chart. And right now, currently at 9:34, 33 candle, there was a reversal type candle. So we have to understand what the next candle is. And it looks like we're going towards the downside from here. And from here, this is where I had sent ChatGPT the screenshot of the current market right now and asked it with a prompt: this is the current market. Do you still suggest the long reversal you proposed earlier? So it didn't propose a long if we went above this ceiling earlier, but that was invalid as it had changed at this current time frame. And it had prompted, and or it had proposed some ideas. It says, what's changed? There is one, aggressive sell momentum. The speed and volume of this drop into the gray zone, 21 to 20, 200, which is this large gray shaded area on the right chart. Look, and it says looks much more impulsive than the earlier balanced or rotational action. That means it was just more like a liquidity in terms of bouncing down and then up. And another bullet says there's no clear sign of responsive buyers stepping in yet. Instead, the sell pressure is heavy. So this impulsive move looks more to be at first impulsive, and then the volume here on the current market is pointing towards sell. And then number two, volume profile confirmation. Price is slicing through low volume zones rather than stalling, meaning sellers are still in full control. The lower edge of that gray box around 21,200 is now critical. If price stabilizes here and starts forming absorption, buyers holding a line, then a long could still develop, but we need proof first. So that means we need reversal signs from candles from the 21,200 level, which is that gray shaded area at the bottom right. And then third bullet, structure is breaking down. The lower highs and lower lows are stacking. This is trending behavior, not reversion behavior. If the gray box fully breaks, the next clear volume support is way lower, close to 21,160 or even 21,140. And so like currently, if you're looking at the chart, we did peak above the ceiling, but the retest is all the way at the bottom here where the volume cluster is at, but it is also hovering below the downward trend line in terms of the body candle. And so I'm looking to see if this bounces off of this floor here at the current price range where this purple line is at. And if we do bounce off that, then I'm looking for a long. So I'm completely ignoring ChatGPT, but keeping in mind what it's saying to validate if its trade suggestions are correct. So yeah, but just going back to ChatGPT, it says updated plan, short until evidence of reversal appears. So that's kind of what we're at right now. The short bias active until we see strong buy imbalances or absorption at the lower edge of the gray box. Like I said, there's a reversal candle formation within this gray shaded area in the 1 minute chart. And then the next bullet is if 21,200 holds and we see buyers step in with clear delta divergence or trap sellers, scalp long is possible. And that's partly what I did later on, but I was taken out and lost quite a bit trying to scalp the long on the bounces, and I was not successful in doing that. Whereas in I should have waited until the 5 minute chart showed a reversal rather than the 1 minute chart. So that's just note to myself, is to wait for a reversal type candle on the 5 minute chart to start reversing the bounce or the drop from this current market right now. But it says right here, what to watch for a reversal long setup. What to watch for a reversal long setup. Aggressive green delta, buying at bid absorption, multiple bottom wicks forming, volume shift from sell dominated to buy dominated within the box. Ideally a liquidity sweep where price spikes below 21,200 and instantly reclaims, which rebounds up to that gray shaded area. So I just told it to suggest a trade then with this new information that it had provided to me. And the trade idea, like I mentioned earlier today in this video, is if price aggressively broke down into the 21,200 demand zone, the gray box, no clear buyer absorption seen yet, sell momentum is strong, meaning any bounce is likely to get sold into, which is the trade idea here, is to short the retest of that broken structure, which is the gray shaded area. So the entry is to look for a retrace back into 2160, 21,280. But right now, if you entered based on just the numbers of what ChatGPT proposed entry around 21,270 that was just a little bit above us, where it broke the top of the gray shaded area. That would have been a good entry point since it did break below the previous that volume spike that's just touching it right there in the middle of the chart on the right side. So this would have been a good entry point regardless if you didn't wait for the retest for it. But it was a good short position at 21,270, which is like right below that tip where it's just touching the yellow on the gray shaded area. And the target, like I said earlier, was 21,180 and 21,140. And right now it's going to head down towards 21,180. And I didn't believe it until it dropped all the way to 2140, which was spot on, as you'll see later on in a little bit, that the 21,140 was like spot on where that was the target, and then it seemed to have reversed around that area. It was either 21,180 or 21,140. I know it went below. It dipped below. If you look in the 5-minute chart, it had dipped below that the lowest valley there at the right before the February 27 like vertical line there. That's where it had dipped all the way into before it started to reverse. And that would have been a huge sell trade right there at 2170 all the way. So it did reach 21,180, which was the first profit target that ChatGPT had suggested for the trade. And so if you had two positions here, exit one at 21,180 and just wait until basically what it says is to wait for a reversal. Short until evidence of reversal appears. So right now we've reached the tip of 21,180. We are seeing some reversal, and this is where I get caught out for that long reversal scalps that you had mentioned. So it looks like this engulfs this previous downward candle, and I think I enter a buy here, and I do get stopped out quite a bit of times because it continues to the downside all the way down to 21,140. So as you can see, I am in a buy, and it will look like it's a good position to be in, but it quickly reverses, I believe, against me. So as the logic for this trade is, as what ChatGPT had suggested, is the reversal. So short until reversal appears. And this looks like evidence of reversal since this white candle on the right 1-minute chart closes white to stop the downward momentum of this huge drop. But in hindsight, there's not enough volume. If you look at the volume profile, it's not thick. So therefore, there's not enough volume as an amount of people hovering at this price range. So it's not strong enough to reverse the downward momentum. And currently, we're in the middle of a 5-minute candle, and this is where it looks like it would reverse, but it did not. And these moves are huge for the past couple days. So you see when my trades enter, that stop loss is quite small, but that's regular. Nothing was changed. That's the regular, I think, 10, 15 points that I have as a set default stop. But as you can see, it was like small when I first entered it. That's because these movements are huge movements in price, and that's why I'm losing quite a bit per trade or per stop, because the distance that price is moving is huge. So as you can see, I did get stopped out, and this momentum is continuing to the downside towards the 60 level, and then 21,140-ish is where dips below before the, how do you say, the 5 minute candle reversal occurs. So I do get stopped out here quite a bit before that happens, and I think at one point I'm just like, I need to wait. I need to be patient for this 5 minute candle to show as a reversal rather than on the 1 minute chart. So we'll just watch as I get into a bit of pain here. So again, I'm thinking this is the a little bit of a reversal to stop that momentum, since we have now done twice of the white candles stopping the momentum for the downward move, and I moved my stop below the 21,140 or at the 21,140 level, because if that's the target for ChatGPT, that's gonna be my stop loss. But as you can see, it is still a target for ChatGPT's initial trade at the 21,270 trade start. And yeah, I get screwed pretty good here, because it does reach this. So as you can see, that 21,140 level is below that previous valley. So I believe, I don't know if I get out here or re-enter. I know I get stopped, because at this point it's gonna drop. I remember this. So again, just the logic is that there's white candles here looking like it's stopping the momentum of the downward move, especially with this type of candle is a reversal type candle, but it's not low enough yet to be reversed. So I get stopped out at the 21,140, and this officially concludes the ChatGPT suggested trade of entering a sell at the 21,270 level and targeting the 21,180 and 21,140 levels. And just look at that, it did it beautifully. But yeah, took me out quite a bit, and at this point I think I don't trade until I see a full reversal on the 5 minute chart, because we still have some volume here at the bottom that I don't know if we will go to. So at this point, I believe I just wait, where I should have waited to begin with. Like, look at that drop from 21,270 all the way down to 21,140. That would have been, maybe if it was two positions to target the 21,180 for first target, and then exiting full position at 21,140. Holy cow, that would have been maybe a 10K move, possibly, or even further if we held, because that's another 400 points drop. maybe 50 points. I'm doing my math wrong. So we just exited the 5-minute candle. So at this point, I'm going to looking to see if this 5-minute candle closes white. And if it does, that's my sign for reversal. And I would be entering accordingly from there, because we are at the lowest we've been, from that bottom of that valley to the left. And the candles here in the white on the 1-minute chart are getting smaller. So we're looking to see if volume continues to spike here and get thick in the volume profile, indicating a reversal. But we are waiting for the full 5-minute candle to close white. And if you don't know, the 5-minute candle represents 5 1-minute candles on the right. So just to give you a little education there. So if you see in the middle of the 5-minute chart on the left, there's a white candle, and then prior to that was like a small candle, and then a drop down black candle. As you can see, I'm down 2K. So I'm looking at a candle that represents this white candle to be similar to what it's gonna look like for a reversal sign here on the 5-minute chart. So patience was key here, and I didn't have that in terms of just following the white candle on the 1-minute chart. So we're looking to see here if this maintains the levels, since this is the lowest it has been from yesterday. So we'll see if it maintains this level and then bounce off of it. But like I said, we're waiting for a 5-minute reversal candle to get into this trade for recovery. So as you can see, this is mimicking the downward candle, a small like flat candle and a white candle. So I'm looking to see if this is the beginning of the reversal. But like I said, the 5-minute chart will dictate that, and we are closing in 30 seconds on this last candle for the 5-minute chart. So it looks like we'll look for it on the next 5-minute range. But I have entered, I think I entered 2 positions, because this does begin the reversal in this candle, I believe, in the 5-minute chart. But as you can see, I get stopped out. But I think I re-enter again in this range when it does reverse on us. So just, you can, that's following my thought process here. As you can see, my mistakes. But that white candle, the 2 white candles, the downward black candle to a flat candle to a white bodied candle at the top, and then a long wick, that's kind of a good sign for a reversal. But I think there was news this was 10 o'clock, and there was news at 10 o'clock, which was the pending home sales, and that was negative in terms of the release data. So that was probably a good indicator that was what happened was with this drop. The expected pending home sales month over month for the month of January, since this is, or February, since this is a 1-minute lagging indicator for data. The previous data point was minus 4.1. The forecasted is a 0.9% move, but that wasn't the case, and it dropped. So it was now minus 4.6% rather than minus 4.1%. So that's a negative indication that there's not a lot of people buying homes. So that's not good for the economy if people are not buying or able to buy homes. So that was a negative indicator and potential drop for this 10 a.m. Candle here, for us to get stopped out in our trade. So that's probably what happened. And then 10:30 there is natural gas storage data coming out, and look, I get another one, a drop black candle, a small candle that's kind of even, and then a white candle. And I'm looking for this as a reversal, like time, and you can kind of tell it's a good sign because look at the volume profile. It is a little bit thick, so there's some momentum stopping us from going to the downside. But again, this is hindsight. And yeah, I started my position after that white candle, and as you can see, we're kind of reversing. And on the left 5-minute chart, there's that wick, the tail of this candle, moving towards the upside. So we'll see if this is the beginning of the reversal from this initial downward move. So here, price does hover quite slowly, I believe, and that's because there's a lot of orders hanging on the very left. Like if we move the chart to the left, we'll see previous price zones where there's volume clusters, and that's why we're hovering a little bit, because that's where volume is. So that's where orders are transacting, and so it's just being dictated which direction we're going to go if people are done selling. So, well, people are done holding their sell positions, so therefore they have to sell that sell to someone buying, and therefore if someone buys that sell position, then they are now, in a long. And that's what this volume indicates, is people getting out of their sell positions, people are buying it up, and therefore holding for a buy or long position. So this is kind of like the basis of the market right now, and basics of market 101 of order transaction. Your orders never disappear unless they're fake like GameStop, but you just hand off your position to someone else and they hold it, and then they sell it and hand it off to someone else when they sell it. So it's just that back and forth, and that's why it's a zero-sum game, because everything is balanced. It's just how many people are holding, which is the delta for selling or buying. So you just gotta understand which ones are being held more. Are more people holding their sell positions? So that's a sell delta, which is red. And then when people are buying that turns into a buy delta, and therefore you're gonna be in a long position, which is going up. And that's the market basics. So I do get stopped, but I do get stopped in profit, and I do believe I re-enter because this 5-minute candle I think stops at a small, like, reversal type candle. So if you just want some education, if you're looking at the left chart where that previous 5 minute candle is, you can read it as the market opened at the top of that candle, went all the way down, and so people got out of their positions and they were selling their orders to people buying. So there's a lot of buying pressure, and buying pressure pushed it all the way up back to where that bottom of the body of the candle is, and that's where it closed. So that you can imply or assume that buying pressure is stopping that momentum to the downside, or at least slowing it down enough to be stopped and then move up. So that's how you can read that, how you can read candles. So there's bound to be some type of reversal soon if we continue to maintain this price range. So this is where this candle, this 5 minute candle, has 15 seconds left for it to close, and it closes like equal top wick, equal bottom wick. Therefore, there's an indecision, but also an implication that it had stopped that momentum quite strongly, and that would indicate that there is a reversal coming soon. And you can see that I think this is where the reversal starts at this point, and it would be pretty spot on, I believe, if this is the time that it reverses. But as confirmation, it was, like I said before, it's best to wait for the position of the next candle after this flat candle. But it should be closing topside, and we do get a strong move to make us even, I believe. And I believe it reaches to about half of this length of this drop from the very top to the bottom. So there's a half retracement. I believe volume is to the left. Remember, there was that gray shaded area, and I believe that was where the volume is. So therefore we moved there, but there was enough volume to keep it there and then reverse, and that's what gave us the edge for pushing us out of break even and into 1K net profit. But yeah, I believe I get stopped out here for my one position, and I continue to hold since this is looking like the reversal. It would have been nice if I didn't get stopped out of my second position, but this one position is a good hold. So here you just see the volume profile like magically appear. I'm just measuring the volume between the start of the drop and the bottom of the drop, and these would indicate the volume just for the drop. So this is where the orders being fulfilled would be most likely at. As you can see, these volume clusters from this middle of the 1 minute chart. That's just going to be our price targets as orders are fulfilled in the first in first out fashion. So these are orders that are potentially being held in this area. since this is a historical view, but I believe it updates when orders are in and out. So it's a pretty accurate representation, and how volume profile is a great asset. So as you can see here, this is the official close of the 5-minute candle, where it did break above the it broke the downward momentum and closed above quite strongly. So this would be a good entry position in terms of a long position to target maybe the next volume cluster, which is there at just a little bit below the 21,200 level. But of course, you gotta watch price action to see if volume is heading towards up or down. But as you can see within on the left chart, there's a huge green line just right to the left of where we're hovering over in terms of where this candle is currently at. That's huge buy volume there. So someone bought quite a bit up there, and this should kind of pump us to the upward side a little bit. But we'll see if there's other orders to negate that if they have paper hands or whatever. So we'll see. So currently this trade is going to close at least 1.8 and 1.8 or 1.7k. And since these candles are getting smaller and we're like wicking down, so like in the opposite direction of what I mentioned earlier with the 5-minute candle of the black candle, price is moving to the top, but sellers or people getting out of their positions to get bought up by sellers is moving the price back down from where we were. So that's why there's a wick. So in a white candle, which is the bullish candle, the candle opens at the bottom and then closes at the top. So therefore it's white and bullish because you're long. But since the candle opened at the bottom, was brought up to the top, but it went immediately downward because people are pushing the price down. That's kind of an indicator of momentum slowing down, and the people selling their positions are increasing. As you can see, the volume profile cluster is thick, so you can kind of infer that there's a downward momentum coming. And I do get stopped out, but I believe the price hovers here, then reverses, and I'll get into a short position that will bring me to the 1k net profit. Again, I get stopped out, but I go back in when the candle is continuously getting rejected from this price range. So if in the thought process, this consecutive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white candles, you can kind of infer that as a kind of a gap in terms of volume, since there's a majority imbalance of buy volume, which brought the price up. So there's an equivalent sell potential. So people who bought this up have their positions, and people, if they want to get out of that position to lock in their profits, they have to sell it. And so therefore it's kind of a gap. So people have to buy into that, buy their positions to get out of it. So therefore the price will eventually go back down. And that's why price action always eventually fills gaps. And here we have 2 small candles, kind of indicating that's kind of like the ceiling. and I should be sell biased here, and I think there's a stronger black candle that triggers my entry that goes below this previous like magenta line as the floor. So I should be getting into a sell soon. I might be faked out here because of this. As you can see, this white candle was pushed down, but then brought up and closed it above us. So that's kind of what happened, I guess. There's a gap here, so there's volume pushing us up, and I guess this is the trade that gets me into the positive. So, yep, I guess that would be just following my thought process during this time. So, that white candle, I guess, was the confirmation for me at the time of the trade to move towards upward bias, since, like I said, with that one candle that pushed us above the ceiling, the price opened and then went down and closed above this ceiling, or yeah, the ceiling. So, that was kind of like momentum moving towards the upside, and moves us to the top of this gap, and then eventually reverses around this area just slightly above this price range. If you look to the left, there's volume there, and I think that's where we do actually reverse, and then I get out and I'm done, netting over 1K. So I guess in this previous up and down little candles just below our price entry, like I remember the price movement is huge today, just as it is for the past couple days, and that got me, I guess, to minus 1,000. In this trade, you see is 2,000. I guess that brings me even. This is where I'm break even, but I will show that I am positive 1,000. So as you can see, it did reverse where the volume cluster previously was. So, okay, yeah, I remember there's this trend. We're breaking this trend, and we drop below to get me to the 1,000. So this black candle is just kind of officially negated the upward move, since it's pretty strong. But as you can see, there's this small white candle with barely any body, so then you gotta wait for the next candle to fully dictate the direction. And I think I get stopped out here just a little bit, because it does reverse slightly and then drop. But this is currently my thought process at this point in time. Usually when there's a strong white or downward move or an upward move, and it's followed by that small white or small no body candle, usually moves to the downside. Um, but there's strong volume here, and there's two of those small body candles or no body candles, and it does reverse on me into basically a retracement. So there's volume here. As you can see, there's the point of control we're at, and it does reverse into this gap and then go back down. And I think I get stopped out a couple times. Yeah, because it's following this trend, this yellow trend line, and it. If it breaks below, then it's continued downward move. But we're hovering here, and that's why I'm in buys, constantly, repeatedly, because we're hovering above it. So it does move into the volume within this gap, but you'll see that it's more of a retracement from there and then bounce back down. Yeah. In hindsight, I should be a little bit more selective in terms of my trades, but this is just reading the charts and getting bit here and there. So it looks like this is where the reversal's at, because that candle that just closed, remember, it opened at the bottom of the white part, brought all the way down, and just barely did not break that. So there's kind of you gotta wait for the next candle to dictate what the next move is. So we're not breaking this glass ceiling here. So this is kind of where the reversal is coming, and it's just barely keeping up with the trend line. And if it breaks through this, then like I said, it's moving towards the downside, and I do switch towards the downside here soon, because we've broken this trend. Well, we're staying this trend, and it's getting smaller, and the ceiling is getting tighter. Therefore, it's either the ceiling gives or you give up on the ceiling, and the price gave up on the ceiling here. But as you can see on the left side of the 5-minute chart, it is due for a retracement because there is a lot of buy volume. As you can see, there's a gap between these within this big first burst candle that initiated the reversal momentum. So there's orders there that need to be fulfilled for people's positions to get out. So this candle is pretty strong downward move to break the trend, the upward trend. So it's a downward bias for now. So with these two yellow lines that are indicating the upward trend being broken, the target, or not the target, but the watching, the assessment here is, do we continue breaking below the upward trend line? And if we do break the trend line, it's going to retrace into the trend line. And just looking back on my chart currently, it does break below the two yellow trend lines and then retrace from the bottom yellow trend line. So it breaks and retraces and then continues towards the downside from there. And I think I get enough to move myself into a net positive of 1K, and I believe that I get out soon on the first sign of reversal. And since we are in this gap being fulfilled currently here on the 5-minute chart, off here, but I should move it. So yeah, I do get stopped out. So you can see it's retraced into volume downwards, and it pumped it up. But we continue towards the downside because we're breaking the downward channel there, or the upward trend. I mean, so it'll be a break retrace, and then determine if we continue towards the upward side or the downward side. But that was pretty much my trade, and yeah, I'm net 1K. Luckily, I was able to pull out of the hole again this time, but this time in a positive note. But yeah, I'm gonna be testing ChatGPT's capabilities, and so far it's 2 for 2, based on yesterday's performance and today's performance for ChatGPT. It did pretty well, and that would have been a huge move. That would have at least been 5K for one position, 10K for two positions. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys kind of learn as I repeat my thought processes, and make as I make mistakes here, but it's, I guess, transparency, whatever. But I am net positive. And yeah, hopefully you guys liked the video and give it a like, maybe give me a subscribe. But thanks, have a good one.